Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Yoga Sciences podcast and YouTube channel. I have Arpita Patel here with us today. She's located in Australia, Sydney, Australia, right?
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Thank you for being here with us today. She is 500-hour yoga teacher, specializes in Krishnamacharya lineage, and so I'm really excited for her to be here. She focuses on pelvic health, and she's currently working with healthcare providers, and she is doing something amazing for people around the world, helping them basically, providing amazing services and helping out with the community. I'll let her get into more of what she's going to be doing. But before we start, I'd really like to thank you for being on with us to share.
Thank you very much, Pen, for having me here. I'm really glad that I can share what I'm sharing with healthcare professionals, and maybe if there is some healthcare professionals who are listening to this, they can join the group and benefit from the yoga I'm sharing with them.
Yeah, definitely mention your group. So let's start with your journey. Like how did you start your yoga journey, and your whole experience of the 500-hour in this type style of yoga?
Yeah. So I'm coming from Indian background. So I have, like, without telling it is yoga, I have lived yoga throughout my life. Like we have like all the rituals in our life which we follow, and we never called it yoga. But when I came in Australia, then I started getting exposure about, like, people were talking about yoga, doing this and that, and then I got into more of asanas as well. But then I really felt like I want to go deeper into yoga philosophy and not just about the asanas, and that's why I decided to take training. And I looked for almost a year before I decided my training, and I'm so glad that I did 500 hours, not 200 or 300 hours training. So, like, I really got to learn so much about yoga philosophy, and I learned that it is not just asanas which is everything in yoga. At the same time, there were so many things, like so many words, because I come from an Indian background. I knew that these are the words are there and we have specific meaning. But when I learned this, when I took this teacher's training, I got to know, like, deeper meaning of each words as well. And then after I started, I really felt like I want to do something. Like, I was teaching to the people who are working long hours, like me. I'm a web developer as well, so I have been working long hours. So then I was like, I want to help people who are struggling with back pain, neck pain, back pain, lower back pain. So I was working with that, but then this pandemic happened, and I was like, I really want to help someone, help some way where it makes difference in the current time. And that's where I started my group for yoga for healthcare professionals. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing your journey, and a little bit about your I got 500 hours certified as well, and it really deepened my practice and my knowledge in this field. And speaking of yoga philosophy, can you go into more about that? Because I feel like this is something that people really not talked about, and in my past interviews we didn't really dive deep into the philosophy part of yoga.
True. So I feel like there is so much, like, if you see, even like when I started, I was like, okay, until then I was doing yoga in gyms. So I was like, okay, in gyms they are just focusing on asanas, that's true. But then I started going to the studios, yoga studios, and still I didn't see that much of yoga philosophy. So I really wanted to understand. And then when I started teaching, I still feel like I sometimes I keep it just asanas, but I add little bit of yamas, niyamas during my practice. So, like, in the classes, like, I don't want to sit down and talk about, okay, this is the yamas, ahinsas and satyas and this and that, but I want it in asanas so then people can really understand it. So, like, even when I'm teaching, I really focus, like, okay, this is ahimsa, so how we can incorporate. So I will say, okay, today's practice intention is being kind, and then with the kindness, I will incorporate ahimsa, like how we can incorporate ahimsa and what ahimsa represents. Same way about the satyas, like how you can be honest, not just about like being honest, but also understanding the situation, and based on that, how you react. So I try to incorporate everything while I'm trying to teach them asana. So it is still like people don't get bored by sitting down and just listening to a lecture, but still helping them to understand the philosophy. Yeah.
So like, let's just say somebody wants to learn more about the philosophy and the history of yoga, like which sources would you recommend them to look deeper into?
I really love, like if someone is really interested to learn about history of yoga, I really love the book from A.G. Mohan, which is, let me get the name. Uh, One is Heart of Yoga by Desikacharya, and the other one is this Yoga for Body, Breath, and Mind by A.G. Mohan. I feel like it really talks about the philosophy, the way it can be understood by people. Like it's easier for people to understand. So yeah.
Oh, all right, thanks. I got the second one that I don't know about, so that's something I'll look into as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. You mentioned that, you know, working pains and aches from sitting for too long, working a lot, from the stress, and with right now with what we're going through, a lot of, you know, working from home. A lot of healthcare professionals are also transitioning to working from home, not the ones that have to, you know, go to the location to work. And
Yeah.
so a lot of, like, I've been getting stiff neck and sometimes headaches just from sitting in one posture for so long, even though I still try to take frequent breaks. So how are you working with your clients on those issues? And yeah.
So I'm the same, because as I said, I still work long hours. I'm a website developer, and I'm also the moving, like I have a practice, like as soon as I wake up, I do some stretches during the day and in the evening, but still I also struggle. And that's why what I do is, like, I have started giving them very short practice. Like one practice is there. You just do it while you are working, like while you're working on desk, or even when they are on floor in the hospitals. I give them a practice which they can do during the day. Like if they are in their break room, they can just do quick stretch and then come back to their practices, you know, come back to their work. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So what are some of like, can you maybe demonstrate like a few poses that people can just do? They can just relieve some pressure or sitting down.
Sure. So one, if you are having a shoulder or neck pain, I will give you this. This stretch works really well. So I will show you. So what you do is you take your hand straight in the front as you take a deep breath in. And then as you're exhaling, you're going to take your hand out on a side. Keep it stretched like this, and then take it on this side. And then as you exhale again, you take your neck on this side. You stay here for few breaths. And then you can move little bit in front as well, few breaths, and then back again for few breaths, and you feel like what is the point where you feeling pain, and then you stay there longer.
Oh yeah, I'm feeling it. That's
Yeah.
a good stretch. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And of course, we're
And
gonna do
then
the same thing on the other side.
obviously, yes,
Yeah.
you want to do it on other side. And also, like when you're going in the pose or coming out of the pose, it should be always slow and balanced. So then you are not doing anything like sudden movements that surprises your body and put it in shock, you know.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful about that as well. Yeah.
That is a really
Yeah.
good stretch. You're so right. You can't just, like, you know, come
Yeah.
out of it so fast. Yeah, that's really good, great tip.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because I always do this one because I struggle with pain on my, I'm lefty, so I get pain on my left side. So I always also say that if you are struggling on one side pain, you should do that side little bit longer than the other side. Always try to, like, because obviously we all have a tendency that as a human use one side more than the other. So try to bring a balance. You can do, like if you have a pain, obviously you can do that side a little bit longer than the other side.
That's a great tip. Thank you for sharing. And so you also, you mentioned you do pelvic, like hip, pelvic health as well. So can you go into more about that, like specifically how you help people with their pelvic area?
So I feel like so many times for pelvic health, the easiest and the simplest thing we can do is breathe. Like just focus on our simple breath, because I feel like so many times people are so stressed, and that stress being stored in your pelvic, because obviously it is the area which is, it is taking too much pressure in our body. Like if you think about pelvic floor, like if you are doing anything, like you're breathing, it is affecting your pelvic floor. If you're sneezing, it is affecting your pelvic floor. In your day-to-day life, there are so many things. And if you're a woman, when you're giving a birth or you're holding a baby, like so many things goes through the pelvic floor. To help that relax the stress we hold there, I think just focusing on, I help people to do rib cage breath, which really help them to just expand on, like focus on your rib cage, and then as you exhale, you can feel that relaxation in your pelvic floor. So just feeling that difference. And then in when I'm teaching pelvic floor, in general I teach very slow and mindful movement. But when we are when we are doing the pelvic floor practices as well, at the same in that as well, we really focus on doing very gentle and slow movement, like noticing each movement as we are moving.
Interesting. Can you
Yeah.
give us an example of what about sciatica? Because that's like a common thing now. I've been hearing people sharing on internet about, oh, they're having sciatica issues like flaring up, and how can you, is there any specific or something that they could relieve the pain from that?
Yeah. So I think sciatica is very common, and especially during the pregnancy. I had sciatica pain on my right leg. So I think with sciatica, what we can do is first go slow, very slow, but build up the, like, strength in your lower back as
Yeah,
well as in your pelvic floor. Yeah. So for that, I would say, like if you're standing up, the simplest exercise, like this can be done anytime. If you're standing up, as you inhale, take one leg back. So
yeah.
imagine this is like I'm standing here, this is my two legs. As I'm
Okay.
inhaling, I will lift one leg back. And at the same time, don't try to take it so that the hip doesn't stay. So keep the hips in balance.
Oh, okay, okay.
And as you inhale, you lift one leg back. As you exhale, you bring it back. You repeat that 12 times on one side. And then you do the same. Like as you inhale, you lift your leg back. As you exhale, bring it back. So like
Oh,
if, yeah, so if this is my two legs, like as you inhale, I take this leg back. As you exhale, I bring it here in the front. Then the inhale again, exhale. So this is really what is happening here is you're doing very slow movement. So it is massaging your uh, back hip muscles. So it is helping the sciatica to relax, and at the same time, over the time, this is going to build the strength in your back glute muscles, and that will help to support your sciatica pain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go into the structure of your classes for healthcare providers. So, is there like the time frame that you work with them for a length of period, or is it just by sessions?
So when I started, I was always teaching 1 hour to 60 to 75 minutes. But I realized that that is too long, and most of the people don't have that time because they are really working long hours in the hospital and stuff like that. So now I try to give two sessions, which are about 30 to 45-minute sessions, and then one session, like this is every week, and one session which is 60 to 75 minutes session. And in
Mm.
the session, we start with, first of all, connecting with your breath, slowing down, and then we set the intention of the practice, and it is mostly about connecting with themselves, like finding the connection with their inner self to relax their body. Then after setting the intention, we start with one of the, like, we will make we'll use sound. So sometimes it is om, sometimes it is ah, sometimes it's different, but I always start with the sound because that really brings that vibration in your body to help you relax it down. So we start with that, then we get into the poses. Throughout the poses, I keep reminding them about their intention. And then at the end, we will be finishing up with the savasana or some breathing practices. And again, one time we will make the sound, and then we finish with gratitude for ourselves. Like they gave this time to their mind and body. So we really focus on gratitude, and then we finish there. So this is normally the class. And then I also sometimes I just run the restorative, like little bit of stretches, and then longer guided meditation for them. And then I'm also, like, right now I'm running 30 days challenge for them, just focusing on breathing.
Oh.
So like in the morning I remind them to breathe, and I will for that one as well, like we have mantra for each day. So one day, like today's mantra is I am calm. So I will keep reminding them throughout the day, like how you can be calm, how you can be like, or even just as they are going through something hard during the day, just remember, I am calm, and just take a deep, mindful breath. So that helps them to keep that anxiety down. So I'm doing that every day right now. But even without that as well, I give them very short practices for breathing practice, like which can be done in 5 to 10 minutes. So it doesn't take too much time.
Awesome. So I love the breathing part. The 30-day challenge. That sounds amazing. Okay, maybe at the end you can share with us like how we can get access to the 30-day challenge. As for the breathing, what is your favorite breathing technique?
I feel like just normal ujjayi breath is more than enough. Even sometimes if someone is new, I don't even tell them to use ujjayi or anything, because when you talk about technique, it's hard for people because they are already feeling a little bit pressure of focusing on deeper breath. As soon as you start using the names, it's hard for them. So I just tell them to start with the deeper breath. But then for myself, every night I use that what is like a single hand one, whatever I forgot the name.
Alternating nostril breathing.
Not that one, the one. No, just a second. I always forget. I'm very bad with name. No.
I'm the same way, so not to.
Anuloma. Yes, I love Anuloma Ujjayi. That is really relaxing, like calming breath. So I really love that, but I haven't taught that to my healthcare professionals yet. I'm going to introduce them once they get comfortable with their breathing.
Do you do visualization too?
Yes. So even for my meditation practice in the morning and at night time, it is all about, but it is not about like visualization story or something. It is about visualize. Like for me right now, what I'm doing is like first I do my normal breaths, little bit breathing. Then I will be starting with like my families. Like I think about my family members. Like I'm spreading the light from me to them and from universe to them, and then connecting. I don't even talk to them, like I don't tell them that I'm doing this is like my meditation practice. And then I come to like currently, like I change like based on like what is the situation as well. So I think about one of my friend when I'm doing the meditation. I think about my healthcare professionals, and then I think about the whole world, like spreading the light for whole world, and then this pandemic goes away. So this is like sometimes it feels like it is not really meditation because I'm thinking about this stuff, but I can feel that I really connect. Like I feel the light from the universe coming to me, and then I'm spreading that light.
That is
So that's
meditative for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't want to define, like I believe in that we don't need to put like, this is meditation or this is visualization, like whatever works for you, use that. That's important.
That's so awesome. So true. I love it. So speaking, like, let's talk about routine. Like, what's your routine like on a daily basis?
So when I wake up, first thing I try to do that. Sometimes I don't get to do it, but as soon as I wake up in my bed, I will do meditation. Sometimes I'm even lying down and I will do the meditation just I explained. After that, I come out, I have a morning stretch, which includes a variation of Salabhasana. So I will do that is about 5 to 10 minutes it takes. Then I get ready, like we take shower in the morning because we do the prayers in the morning. So we get ready, then I do my prayers. In that one, we have like breathing practices like Om sound and sound, like Brahmari Pranayam as well. We do the, do you know that mala meditation we do? Like it is part of my ritual. It is not like because I started doing yoga, I'm doing it. I was doing throughout my life that prayers in the morning. So we do that mala meditation, then we do some of the postures in our rituals, and then I do some reading. Once I finish that, I normally, like if I'm going to work, I get ready to work. Right now I'm working home, but I will start working, and then during the day I have a stretches for my that pain I'm struggling with, my neck pain and back this shoulder pain, because I'm working on laptop whole day long, it comes. So like about 12 o'clock I will do that stretches. Then at lunchtime, which I take very low late, if I'm taking lunchtime at work, I do workout, like I go to gym or I do my yoga practice, depends like how the day is feeling. Then in the evening I come back, and then I will be doing so in the evening I have my own another stretch practice. And then at night time, before I go to bed, I do meditation with my daughter. So my daughter listens to the story meditation, so it is for her, it is like just visualizing the story. That's the her meditation, and I do my meditation like with the Anuloma Ujjayi. And then I do my stretches in the bed. The one I saw, like one of that, which is the lifting the leg. There are few other stretches which I do for my lower back pain, and then I sleep.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
That's a good routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something that people can stick to. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because like I don't have a time, separate time to do practice every day many times. So I really like that I have divided my practices during the day, which helps me to stay to that. And sometimes it's still like, sometimes I find that it doesn't happen, but most days I'm able to follow it.
Right. It's about we do the best we can, right? And as
That's
frequently
it.
as we can. It just doesn't have to be a fixed time.
Very true. I don't like to tie with everything like, oh, I didn't do it. I don't want to be hard on me as well.
Mhm.
Because obviously it's life happens and we don't get time sometimes. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you're too focused on, oh, it has to be done, then you might end up not even do it at all because if you're just too fixated on that.
true.
Yeah.
Then there is more chance of you giving up because you feel like, oh, I didn't do for 2 days. Now I'm not going to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just about trying your best and as consistent as you can. And if you can, then just say, you know what, it happened. Just try again and just don't, wait.
So true.
Yeah. About what, so did you have to transition much in terms of like with the situation that's going on now, like how you were working before and how you're working now? Because you said you before this happened, you were going out to go to work, right? But now you're working
Yeah.
from home. How is that
Yeah.
transition? Do you have to pivot much?
So actually, I don't mind working. Actually, I love working from home. So it is working out well. And because my daughter is home, I'm able to spend more time with her, which I'm really loving. And but we had to buy some like desk and stuff because we want to really make it easier for us. So we have a standing desk now, like all set up for our work environment. And when we transition, because I work in a supermarket here, it was really long hours. I was working so long hours at that time, and that time was like taste of myself, that how I'm looking after myself.
Mm.
So I had to really like, try to find time to do little bit something for myself and then go back to work, which was which was really good to see that I was able to incorporate at that time as well.
Okay, that's good
Yeah.
that the transition is working out for you and you get to spend more time with your daughter.
Yeah, that's so true. I feel like I'm blessed, one of blessed one. Even like because everyone is losing the job, and I am a contractor. So as a contractor, normally you should be losing your job straight away. But my contract got extended because we were so busy.
That's
So
great.
yeah,
It's unfortunate that some contractors, it doesn't work out.
yeah. It is so sad to see like so many people are losing the job, and it is really hard time for them. I feel for them, you know.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
it is a tough time. And you mentioned that you're doing different things to help the community, help the healthcare professionals. So what are some of the things that you're doing now to help them?
So this group, like it's just started before 4 weeks, like healthcare professionals group, because so I was talking with like I was talking with my partner and I was talking with others as well. Like I want to do something because I was feeling so like what can I do to help this time, these current times. And then I was like, okay, I have skills in yoga, and the way I teach it really helps with the, like relaxing you, like getting rid of the anxiety and stuff. So I was like, how can I do it? So then I started talking with my friends, like I want to do, like I had a friend who is a healthcare professional. So I was like, I want to help them and this and that. So then she was like, okay, maybe if someone like if my hospital is interested, I will do it. But then on Facebook, I found that groups about adopt a healthcare professional, which is really going like taking off in Australia. Like they have for each state they have this group. So then I started posting in that groups that I offer like I created free group, and I was like, I offer yoga and mindfulness here. If you are interested, just join there. So then everyone started joining, and then initially I was start running 2 classes a week, and then I slowly transitioned to 3 classes, and then because they all say that we find that we are not having time and this and that, so then I'm starting to giving them short practices. And that's the reason I decided to have this breathing challenge as well,
Mm,
because they were like sometimes they feel even anxious about doing yoga because they feel like, oh, their body is not ready, or they are not you know ready to do this, or they don't have time for this and stuff like that. So then I was like, okay, let's create this challenge. From that you can build that practice of doing little bit every day. You don't have to go on your mat for whole 1 hour or half an hour. Just do 5 minutes practice when you can. Like these practices can be done in a car or wherever you are.
yeah, it's so true. Like, just get started. Don't even think about the long-term goal. But like, I mean, of course, set your long-term goal, but start small
Yeah.
steps and gradually you'll get there one day at a time, right? You don't need to, say, okay, that's my goal, but then you get overwhelmed just thinking because you're kind of here, but then you wanted to get here, but then you kind of just slow down.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And like because in my group everyone, like when they enter, I ask them like what is the biggest problem they have right now which I can help with. And the main thing they are talking about is anxiety and the lower back pain. So I focus when I'm teaching, I try to focus on that two main things. Like, and that's why if you notice, like when I explain the class, it is more about breathing and really focusing on inner self. So then they can really feel that stress relief, like peace of mind. They can find peace of mind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, anxiety is a huge thing now too, because a lot of people, they're not going, oh, of course, pretty much everybody's not going out as much, not getting a lot of sunshine,
Yeah.
not getting enough vitamin D, and it just the whole situation with the news, getting people anxious, and the job from transitioning from working outside to home, and this for a lot of people is like a big transition. So for
Yeah.
anxiety, and you suggested the breathing, the meditation, like
Yeah.
stretches to get rid of the physical effect of the anxiety that puts
Yeah.
pressure on the physical body. And so, any other recommendations that would help with anxiety?
I would say, first of all, like start your day with the breathing. So, like in our challenge, that's what we are doing. I'm saying that as soon as you wake up, do 5 breaths, not more. In your bed, you don't have to move at all, like you are still sleepy, but you are just focusing on your breath. So start with the 5 breaths in the morning and 10 breaths before you sleep. That's the main thing I say. And then during the day, try to spend some time with your family, like quality time, like maybe just when you're having dinner, maybe just sit down on the table, no nothing, don't talk about anything other than your family. Like give yourself some time, as well as self-care, like because you're not leaving the house, you have more time on your plate. Try to use it for maybe having a bath, or just whatever you love to, like maybe if you love to read long more, then read little bit more, or have a bath, or just sit down with your family, or talk with your family, even in on screen. If you feel like you want to connect with your family more, do that, because that really helps. When you feel supported by others or by yourself, it helps you to decrease the anxiety.
That's so true. And speaking of like talking to people with family online, like virtual parties are like a big thing now. Birthday parties are
Yes.
done virtually. One thing that's important that we feel anxious when we're talking to our friends and family. We don't have to say that, oh, we're anxious about this and that. Then if you talk, the more you talk about it, the more anxious you get. So talk
True.
about happy things. Talk about what, like, the good things that are happening. We're
Yeah.
still healthy, like, then we're still able to communicate at least through internet or phone or
Yeah.
device or something. So you're still able to get access to people. You're just not physically, meeting them.
Yeah.
So
Because we are at least lucky enough that we have this internet, which is amazing. Obviously so many people don't like using technology, but right now technology is blessing that at least we are able to connect with others through that. Like in olden times, they didn't have anything, and they were stuck in the house for, like, they don't have food or anything. We are not deprived of any of that, which is like, we should think that we are lucky to have all this stuff.
right. And of course nutrition plays a big role too, because how we
So
eat.
true.
And now that we're in this situation, more likely people are leaning towards the unhealthy foods. But deep down inside, I'm sure that they know that the healthier they eat, the healthier they feel. So they'll
Yes.
just try to be more mindful in terms of like everything that we do, what we're eating, how we're thinking, how we're feeling. We're in control. That's
Yes. And I think what the best thing we can do to stay in control of our nutrition is not buying junk food.
mm.
When you have junk food in the house,
Oh my gosh.
you're definitely going to eat it. If you don't have it, you will not eat, and you will find a way to eat healthier. Just buy fruits, more fruits. So obviously fruits only is also not good, but if you're craving, say, sweetness, have one apple and eat that. Like I
Hmm.
have dates in my house as well, because I have a sweet tooth. So I really like eating sweet, but at the same time I want to balance it out. So like I will have a date during the day or two, like just 1 or 2 dates a day, which helps me to help my craving. At the same time, I'm not eating any junk food.
Right, like whole foods, like fruits, like you said, even if
Yeah.
if they're dried, at least they're not artificial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely it works. It helps when you don't have junk in the house. But if you have chocolates, I'm sure even if you are good with your food, you will go to that, because obviously right now you are really feeling little anxious, and then you want to go for your comfort food. And obviously chocolates and all the sweet things are comforting, but it's not good for us, sadly.
I know, and especially when we eat too much of that, of course we're gonna regret it afterwards because it's not gonna be good for our digestion and everything.
So true, so true.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's one more question. What is one thing that you've learned over the years, like in your training or in your experience working with people, like one important lesson that you've learned that really made like a big difference in key things and how you do things?
I think if I'm talking about asanas wise, one thing I will say that I learned that your asana doesn't need to be fancy, or it doesn't need to be very fast vinyasa flow. you can get better benefit even if you're going slow mindfully, because that is so important. Like when you're moving, if you're being mindful, you will feel that internal, it is like inner size, not exercise. I have heard this term from someone else. It is being used a lot. So it is like inner size. You are, oh, I think yes, Christine Weber, I think she uses this term, or someone else. But this term is like, you are really working your inner self. At the same time, if you want to make it hard physically, just take your time, stay in a pose longer. You're going to do your, working on your body as well, like physically as well as for me, like the biggest lesson was like I'm Gemini and I like to things like, take too many things on my plate and then try to juggle everything. I still do it. I'm not saying I'm not doing it, but like after my practice, I have learned that I have to take it slow. I have to say no to things, like, or prioritize it, like, okay, this is the what I'm going to focus right now. I'm not going to touch other stuff. Like my mentor during my training, she was really like always like, okay, Arpita, you have to stop taking the new things, just focus on what you're doing right now, and then you can take the other one later on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. That's a great advice. I love that. Like, can you share your website, social media, and the group information so that I'll also list it in the description. But if you could just, tell us so listeners can hear how they can reach you and join your group.
Yeah, so the website is Neom Yoga. So it is neomyoga.com.au. That is my website. And then my Facebook handle is also Neom Yoga. If you just search Neom Yoga, you will find it. And then the Facebook group, if you're on my page itself, you will be able to join group, and that is that will let you go in a healthcare professionals. But I only allow who are people who are working in the healthcare profession. So
Mm-hmm.
it is just for them. I have another group for the other people, but I really focus on healthcare professionals mainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. I'll make sure that I'll reach out to people and let them know about your group.
Sure. If
Okay.
someone, like if you know someone who is healthcare professionals, I really want to help them. So they can just come there and just practice with me.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. You're welcome. I'm so glad you invited me here, and we can talk about all this stuff, because I feel like people can benefit starting small, like just small, like little bit, like just doing breathing in the morning at night time, and then slowly build up. They don't have to be, flexible or strong to do yoga.
That's so true. It just sometimes getting started is the hardest thing. And once you get started, you build up the momentum and you might think, oh, and then you realize, okay, it's actually not that bad. Why didn't I get started sooner? So just
Yeah.
take that step.
Yeah. And like as soon as you start being mindful, you will see the change in your body, you know?
Mm,
Yeah.
that's so true. Um, yeah, so thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having me here.
You're welcome.